Welcome back. As the political dust settles in the United States, campaign officials are already holding debrief meetings to analyze what worked and what didn't in the recent presidential elections. Allan Lee asked U.S. correspondent and Republican Perry Atkinson about what made the difference.
Most of the votes that Governor Romney got were votes against Obama and not necessarily for him. So the question is now, did we have a strong enough conservative candidate to win those over? Because the total vote in America was less than it was in '08. So apparently, and I don't say this disrespectfully, it's just an observation that Governor Romney perhaps wasn't the candidate that people really liked.
What do you think about the accusations that the Republican Party was a party for rich, old, white men and that it had lost touch with so many people?
Yeah, well, you know, I've heard everything from, yeah, we're just a bunch of old white guys, rich old white guys, that we're insensitive, we don't care about the minorities or Hispanics, women, and the list goes on and on and on. All of this, Alan, quite frankly, is a political ploy to convince those who voted Republican that the Republican Party is too conservative to get elected to anything. But I think when you really look at it and you examine it, we didn't have a real strong conservative. Don't get me wrong, the Governor Romney, nice guy, said all the right things, but he has a track record as governor of changing his mind on some key issues. And that wasn't enough for solid conservatives to get around.
I know we've talked in the past about the Tea Party. Do you think in the end that the Tea Party perhaps scared some moderate voters off as being seen too far to the right?
I think that's a good question that's still being analyzed. Has the Tea Party done its role in American politics? It certainly was effective in '10 in the mid-year term elections. It did play a role in some of these other elections. But I don't know. I can't answer that. I think that the Tea Party is still very strong and active. And I think that the Republican Party on the national scale is going to have to ask themselves, what do we do with the Tea Party that represents a very conservative position on most of the public policies versus the moderate position that the established Republican Party wants to portray? It can't be both, so there's going to be a tug-of-war yet to come.
Another of the accusations that was leveled against Governor Romney in particular was that he had supported the bailout of the banks, and yet he hadn't supported the bailout of the motor industry, and that was seen as supporting the very well off, whereas the middle class was being squeezed out. Do you think that was part of the problem as well?
Well, first of all, I think the left did a wonderful job in portraying that. But if you stop and think about it, the auto industry is still a very major part of capitalism, and capitalism works when things fail as much as it works when things succeed. So what Governor Romney was saying was, let the auto industry go through an organized bankruptcy and then let the government help them reorganize on the other side. That's why we have those laws. It's a brilliant move. But it got portrayed as being favorable big business, and it pretty much did hurt him, no question about it. I think the image, he couldn't overcome the image that the left made on that particular policy.
Does the Republican Party need to make major changes? And it sounds like what you're saying is that it was the candidate who didn't really fit rather than the policies.
Look, I think if the Republican Party has a problem, it's this. They got to tell in a more compassionate and convincing way why they believe in what they believe. They do care for people. We do reach out to the poor. We do care about Hispanics. We do have a great concern about immigration. We understand balance sheets and P&L sheets a whole lot better than the left does. We understand you cannot spend more than you take in. But they perhaps need to step back and say, all right, we need to repackage the message to make it certainly more palatable and understanding, and convey that no matter what class you're in, and I don't like class warfare, but it very much is a part of the argument here in America, whether you're the lower class, the middle class, or the upper class, you understand it, and that you're able to work in behalf of their betterment. America works when everybody's working. And we cannot go down the road of being total entitlement to everybody, or we're in a big trouble.
Perry, it's always good to talk to you. Thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you, Allan.